Hi, and welcome back to this Thursday edition of Focal Point on AFR Talk. Great to have you in the conversation. Brian Fisher is my name, your congenial, convivial, and amiable host. Talking with Cal Beisner. The number to call, by the way, if you want to join the program, the conversation, 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. And again, I want to review that Fisher factoid. This conversation comes up with somebody. Oh, we're just sending all of our subsidies to oil and gas industries. The fat cats are getting fatter off these subsidies. The reality is we are subsidizing right now wind energy on a kilowatt per hour basis, the amount of energy that's actually produced. We're subsidizing wind energy 87.5 times higher than we're subsidizing oil, gas, and petroleum. I mentioned this fact from this Robert Rice column that the subsidies for wind energy is twice the market price for natural gas. In other words, you can buy natural gas for half of what the subsidy is. Now, I don't know what they're selling it for when it includes the subsidy. Maybe it's 3 times the price of natural gas, but that just gives you an idea. Reality is it's just not a competitive deal. If you got to provide subsidies that are twice what it costs you for a comparable competitive product, just in order to move it, to keep producing it, that tells you everything that you need to know. And again, the Fish and Wildlife Service, these are bird blenders. These wind turbines, they're nothing but bird blenders that just foul up the landscape. And this is according to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. 440,000 birds a year are being chewed up by these wind turbines. 440,000 birds a year. These are bird blenders is what they are. Los Angeles Times last year reported that 70 golden eagles per year are getting chewed up by the wind turbines at Altamont Pass in Central California. I've been through there a lot. It's just nothing but wind turbines in that pass. They're chewing up 70 golden eagles a year. There was a 2008 study funded by the Alameda County Community Development Agency, which estimated, this is what Cal was talking about, 2,400 raptors, including burrowing owls. Owls are big birds, by the way. I had no idea how big they were. One of them landed in a tree outside our house a couple weeks ago. Those owls are big birds. So they're raptors, burrowing owls, American kestrels, and red-tailed hawks, as well as 7,500 other birds were being killed by these turbines at Altamont. So these are raptors, not just birds in general, but these raptors that are so precious to the environmental community. Also, the Los Angeles Times in February reported that 8 golden eagle carcasses have been found at the Pine Tree Wind Project. This is actually owned by the city of Los Angeles, the LA Department of Water and Power. So the death rate at this facility is even higher. It's 3 times higher than the death rate at Altamont. But again, as Cal indicated, the American Bird Conservancy, they've given these wind turbines a pass. You keep blending all the birds you want, golden eagles, raptors, kestrels, burrowing owls, chew them all up. We will give you a pass. But last year, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, remember, they're the ones that are saying 440,000 birds a year getting chewed up by wind turbines, these bird blenders. They filed criminal indictments against 3 drillers who were operating up in North Dakota's Bakken oil field. One of the companies was indicted for accidentally killing a single bird, one bird. And yet the wind turbines are chewing up 440,000 a year. They get a pass. One quick soundbite before we go to the phones, 888-589-8840. Here's an NBC medical editor, what they're bringing a medical editor on to talk about Christmas. I have no idea. Maybe we'll find out as we listen to this soundbite together. But listen to her assessment of what the whole problem is with Christmas.
I focus on, honestly, the religion part of it. I really and truly do. So I can't outsource that part of it. I can send you to get my tree, but you can't help me pray.
I don't like the religion part. I think religion is what mucks the whole thing up.
That's the only reason It's the only reason for me to have the holiday, quite frankly.
I don't like the religion part. I think that's what makes the holiday so stressful.
We wouldn't have the holiday if it wasn't for the religion part.
I want the green trees that smells good and everyone's happy.
I didn't see that. I did not see that.
You don't like the religion part?
I'll tell you one thing that I have a problem with is that people judging how you're supposed to spend your
I'm sitting
holiday.
here in my head going, Jesus is the reason for the season, and you don't like the religious part. Okay.
So, I mean, you know, and they were joking about it, but she was serious. I don't like the religion part. I think religion is what mucks the whole thing up. Well, if it wasn't for religion, you wouldn't even have Christmas. There would be no holiday to mess up if it wasn't for Jesus Christ. You know, we were talking about this in our production meeting this morning. It'd be like saying, you know, if it wasn't for that darn chocolate, that chocolate pie would be terrific. Or if it wasn't for the pecans, pecan pie would be terrific. Or, you know, if it wasn't for George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, the fireworks, the American flag, the parades, the 4th of July would be a terrific holiday. It's all that patriotism that mucks the whole thing up. 888-589-8840. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Larry, Lafayette, Indiana. Larry, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Hi, Brian. Hey, it's good to talk to you.
Great to have you.
Glad you took my call.
Thank you, sir. Glad to have you on.
Good. Well, hey, I was calling about the wind turbines. You were talking about that earlier, and we have a whole slew of them in north of Lafayette, Indiana. And number one, they're an eyesore. The other thing
they
is,
sure are, aren't they? Aren't they? They just ugly up the landscape. And I'm frankly surprised we haven't had more environmentalists complaining about visual pollution. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, yeah, and absolutely. And the thing is, they look like alien spaceships or something. I don't know. But I have noticed, because I drive up 65 quite a bit, I've noticed a lot of people being mesmerized by these things and the driving in that little swath that they're at. People are riding off the road and everything else. So, and I also have a friend who lives up close to that area, and they actually shut down a few of them because they're around the area. You've got enough people together to sign a petition because they were affecting sleep patterns and all that kind of stuff. So
man.
They're
Yeah, the health impact on those things are enormous.
And I don't know if you know anything about this or not, but especially through the small town that I live in, east of Lafayette, they will bring these big trucks through, and they will actually have state police officers that will come in and block intersections. And I have never seen, anything that size being escorted by the state police. But for the last 3 weeks, we've seen them go through here. So
yeah, they're carrying equipment for wind turbines.
Well, they're actually carrying the big blades. They'll have the big blades on there, and they'll have a state police officer in front and one in behind, and they'll come through. And I've never seen them be escorted by the police like that, but that's what they're doing. So.
Well, and those blades are huge. I mean, those wind turbine towers are something like 400 feet high, and of course those blades are almost that long. They are just, that's longer than a football field. That's how tall those standards are, and the blades are almost that long. I mean, they're just monsters. So.
Well, and I don't see the use in utilizing our, resources of the police department to escort these things. It's just, it all seems kind of weird to me. So.
Yeah. All right, Larry, listen, I appreciate that. That's boots on the ground. Larry's talking about, Cal mentioned this. I mean, the health impact of these wind turbines is serious because you have this constant low throbbing noise. It's even kind of subsonic. You may not even be able to hear it with your ears, but it definitely impacts your heart. You can kind of feel it in your body. You get dizziness, you get vertigo, you get all sorts of sleep disruption from these turbines, even if they're as far away as a quarter mile or a half mile. I mean, they can be a pretty good distance from your home, and it's still going to affect you. Let's go to James, Midway Park, North Carolina. James, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Yeah, well, two short things. I've been in that area where that fellow was talking about over the last 6 years going up there back and forth every month, or coming down 57 in Illinois. And same thing. There are times, whether the wind's blowing or not, some of them be turning, and yet some of them don't be turning, and they be looking down at you, look like saying, I don't care if the wind's blowing or not. I ain't moving nowhere.
I ain't working.
That's right.
I belong to the Wind Turbine Union. This is one of the days I don't have to work.
Scheme. It's a money-stealing Ponzi scheme, and Al Gore's getting fat off of it since he has the corner marketed.
Yeah, he's made $110 million off of this anthropogenic global warming scam. $110 million he's made off of that. Total sham.
One short thing. The next time, well, you saying what's this guy's name who wants to get rid of abortion, period?
Yeah, Governor Rick Perry of Texas.
Rick Perry, okay. Well, what I would like to know is, since when is it legal to hire somebody to murder somebody?
Yeah, that's what
they want us to do, put money in a fund to solicit murder for hire of babies.
That's exactly right, James. Good way to put it. Thank you for that. Yeah, these abortionists are nothing but contract killers. You try to do that to your wife, you're going to prison for the rest of your life. One last call. Let's go to Ron in Ula, Illinois. Ron, I got about 35, 40 seconds. What's on your mind, sir?
Well, just real quick then, I live on top of a big hill. It's called Valley View. I'm looking down at about 600 of these wind turbines.
Wow.
This is an agricultural area, and one thing that it's affected is that the crop dusting can't be done because they can't fly in and around to treat the crops every year. The second thing is we live in the big geese flyway area, and you talk about wind turbining up birds. It's whacking the geese that fly through here every year. And the last thing is, it's my understanding is that most of this energy goes to Chicago, and even though we look down on it and see it and have to not enjoy the view, it's Chicagoans that are benefiting from the electricity.
Wow. Okay, Ron. Wow. I didn't even think about that. They can't crop dust. Farmland can't crop dust because the turbines chewing up the geese that fly through there all the time, and they don't even get to benefit from the energy. It all gets shipped off to Chicago. So there you go. Wind energy, folks. It's expensive, kills birds, can't use it, consumes public taxpayer resources. What is not to like? Focal Point AFR Talk back after the news. Don't go anywhere.
American Family Radio, AFR Talk.
Christmas, the season that often finds us stuck in traffic or standing in a long line at the checkout counter.